After more than 2 centuries of Danish rule in the Danish West Indies, freedom was finally declared in 1848. But the kind of freedom Denmark gave came with a price, one that the enslaved would end up paying for generations. Let's talk about the many times Denmark extracted wealth from the then Danish West Indies to the now US Virgin Islands. In the 1700s, St. Croix was the engine that kept Denmark running. The islands exported sugar by the tens of millions of pounds. St. Thomas grew into the Danish realm's second largest town after Copenhagen. Historians estimate their colonial profits would equal 100 billion today. But that wealth didn't stay here. It moved north, carried by ships and ledgers. After the 1848 uprising, freedom was declared. 5 years later, Denmark began to pay former slave owners for their loss of property. In the 1840s, men sold for around 100 rigsdaler, women for 30 to 35. So the Danish settled on paying 50 rigsdaler in government bonds for every life once owned. They paid an amount equivalent to 54 million today. And the enslaved? They were given freedom, but without a way to live it. Harsh labor conditions eventually led to the 1878 fire burn. By 1917, Denmark sold the islands to the United States for 25 million in gold. On paper, the flag changed, but Denmark secretly retained the West Indian Company, the docks, the harbor, the trade. With the opening of the Panama Canal, St. Thomas' maritime economy declined, but another industry would soon be on the rise: tourism. Denmark let go of the colony, but not of the profit. And then, almost a century later, in 1993, Denmark came calling again. The now US Virgin Islands was forced to buy back the West Indian Company for $54 million. The exact sum Denmark once paid to slave owners was in effect billed back to the descendants of the enslaved, a final act of economic cruelty. Think about that. A nation that profited from slavery, extracted wealth through colonization, and decades after selling the territory still found a way to collect again. Denmark had to squeeze one last payment, one last profit from the same soil it had already drained. If freedom came with a receipt, the Virgin Islands are still paying for it. Because even now, the story of these islands isn't just about what was taken, but who keeps taking it.